someone's had access to these crafts for decades potentially, and they're trying to reverse engineer it, why haven't we had the technological breakthroughs to be able to do like the kind of propulsion that they do?
There's two ways to answer that. Like, so one is the U.S. government always keeps ace in the hole capabilities for, country defending existential fights.
So they may
you don't use those in just Iraq, Afghanistan. You use those when you've got no other option, right? So I'm not saying we have some anti-gravity super stuff. I'm just saying the fact that it hasn't diffused into our broader technological paradigm that we understand isn't proof that it doesn't exist, right? And it would likely be something that would complicate any disclosure effort, because if we did have, say, inspired technological platforms that we've weaponized, or for ISR systems, et cetera, well, the Gang of Eight wouldn't want to harm the strategic advantage those systems give us. So I think what's happening, you can imply this, you can infer this from some of the statements that Senator Rounds, the lead co-sponsor of the bill, has given, which is he wants to have accountability and disclosure and transparency, but he doesn't want to harm national security. And I think they're sort of pointing obliquely at the fact that they want to try to cleave those things. They want to try to ensure that there can be a necessary recognition of the core truth. The existence of non-human intelligence is not government information. It's a fact of reality, right? The government can't classify the existence of the moon, right? The existence of non-human intelligence is not a government piece of information. It's just a state of the world. The capabilities of the U.S. military, to do things with certain aerospace platforms is government information that they definitely need to protect. And so the problem is, maybe historically, as you would imagine, if we had certain technologies of unknown origin, well, of course, what we would probably use them mostly for is to inspire, really advanced capabilities. If we could, that would be like the primary objective, other than understanding what they're here and what they're doing, right? You would both be like, why are they here? What are they doing? But also like, let's get as much weapons and stuff out of this as possible, right? And so that would mean that the apparatus of secrecy, the compartments, the engineers, the whole structure that the Senate is trying to, get better accountability of, and then to disclose in a controlled fashion, those are like conjoined twins. And of course, the folks that have been managing those alleged legacy programs have no interest in making that easy, right? They have every interest in basically saying, these are so conjoined, you cannot disclose really anything about this basic NHI fact of, and without fundamentally compromising, our national strategic advantage from maybe having inspired certain systems as a result.
Yeah. Right.
Space Marines, what do we have? Like, what do they have, dude?
What would they build? Like, could we really?
Is it the TR-3B? Is that really like we have?
Like, could we really build something to fight aliens, or is it more just we would then use it to fight each other or protect ourselves from each other? Right. Like, wouldn't that help unite us a little more? Like, I don't know. Like, would they be hands off now? This NHI? I don't know. Would disclosure change the way they interact with us? But his point about the government is thinking, okay, right, yes, there's reality, then there's having all this knowledge. So, which is what a lot of people are asking for. Just answer the question. Are we alone? Just confirm that.
Yeah.
We don't need to know what you found, what it does, this, that. Yes, we'd like to know, but okay, I get it. It's national security, but at least acknowledge the core truth. We are not alone. And we've been visited, because those are two different things, right? Like, they've come here. That's all we can say. We're not alone. Like, yeah, I mean, and he's right, that struggle that the government is having of national security, weapons platforms, this knowledge, it becomes murky. And you got a lot of people in government, as we know, in world politics, but specifically America, everyone's right, the chef in their own kitchen when it comes to politics, right? They all think they got the right way it should do, and they're going to butt heads over how it should go, what's happening. And of course, again, the legacy programs would do anything to make sure. Again, their thing is, well, how can we admit one thing and not have the other come behind it, right? Because as soon as we admit this, then you're going to want all this other information, right? Like,
It's a can of worms. That's really what they don't want to go into.
Yeah,
because they know it'll never
it's a can
stop.
of worms.
It's
Sure.
a can of worms, and
But it's
got to
not
be
stopping now, right? People are demanding it now. So like the can of worms, in my opinion, has already cracked.
Yeah, maybe they're just trying to keep the lid, squeeze it on there as long as they can.
As long as they can, sure.
So they can get out before it's all, burn. What did the Germans do right before we came into Berlin? They were burning everything, and
Yeah.
and our guys were taking it back, taking all the flying saucers from the Germans. Yeah, that's another thing. We're gonna find out there's some dirty shit that's been done. A lot of really dark stuff's probably been done. I mean, at least that's what we've been told by a lot of these whistleblowers. So, maybe that's really what I think at the bottom of it. That's what they're really scared of. It's the liability. They're going to come after these people, and they don't want that.
They want amnesty, right? Yeah. No,
but it's interesting, like that what he said about we have some capabilities. Annie Jacobson just was saying on a podcast I was watching the other day about how the president, when there's a nuclear launch, if they detect a nuclear launch, he's got 6 minutes. They come to him and he has 6 minutes to make a decision. So it's 3:00 in the morning. They wake up the president. He's 100 years old or whoever. He's got 6 minutes to like shake off the cobwebs and decide to launch all our nuclear weapons or not. Now, this guy is saying we've got stuff beyond that he doesn't even know about. And it's like, my question is, okay, well, so when do you come and tell him that you can do this shit? Like, when do you show up and you're like, okay, this is the secret stuff that we didn't tell you about.
Yeah.
Now you've got to decide, do we use this? Do we fire the Death Star? We have a Death Star? It's so weird, man. It's like, well, I can't even imagine like who at minimum, there's way too much secret stuff going on. Like no one knows what's happening anymore.
Sure.
It's crazy.
Yeah. No, you make some good points, man. Absolutely. And that would be a terrifying position to be in, like cosmically, like, aliens are coming. We got to do that, or whatever. I don't know.
Hold on. We got to show this guy a PowerPoint about all the secret shit he didn't know about.
Totally. That also would be a problem, right? All of a sudden you got to catch people up on something because, we didn't let people know about this issue. That's a great point, actually. I don't know if I've ever discussed that, but that's a great point.